Happy weekend, everybody. We made it not only to Friday, but through Friday. And now it's time to get this weekend kicked off, get things started. But before we do that, I want to hit you guys with some of the news and introduce you guys to some of the great guests I have this week. Before I do, I want to give a tremendous shout out to Donnie Glover. Just for setting all this stuff up here. I can't wait to see you back on the morning show and just see you soon, my brother. So hopefully you're getting this well-needed time off. Also, want to shout out Tamara and Nicole over at Sista Biz. You got to check out what they got going on there. They're doing really great shows on not and politics in the Baltimore area. So last but certainly not least, and actually not quite last, but also want you guys to take some time to check out the Blackout on Saturday mornings, coming to you from New York City with Tasmira. She's got some great stuff going on out there, but of course, we're out here on the West Coast, and got to include the big brother, Art Doug Blacksher, for the Black Business Roundtable. So shouts out to Doug. He's always letting you know what's going on out here in the Bay, coming to you from Oakland. He's obviously talking business, politics, and so that brings us to this show. This is Black USA Crypto News. What are we talking about? We're talking about financial technology, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, which is Decentralized Finance. And I'm your host, Kamal Hubbard. So, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about me because I have a guest waiting in the wings, and she's very accomplished, and I'm very happy to have her on today. And that is Idara Essang. Hey,
Hi.
are you?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. How's everything going for you?
Pretty good. Busy, but I'm getting a lot done.
Very true. Very true. Well, Idara, we've had a chance to speak a few times, but I'd really enjoy it if you could introduce yourself to our audience, tell the folks at home or wherever they are about you and what you got going on.
Sure. So yes, my name is Idara Essang. An expat of Southern Nigeria, but I live in California for over the last 15 years. I am an entrepreneur that has had a lot of brilliant ideas, and some of my ideas have influenced, certain tech companies and certain developments in tech, like Amazon Live and Facebook Shops, that deal with the live commerce trend. Those are some of the ideas I've had that are original to me. And I'm just someone that has a lot of disruptive ideas in different industries. And just what I'm here to talk about is a platform I call African Entrepreneurs Cooperative, that is a vehicle for me to bring my ideas to market, because I was finding that it was very, very, kind of a just not productive. I just had a lot of issues with finding like a venture capital or bank loans and so on. And so I created this platform that will help me fund some of the major ideas that I'm here to discuss. And
Okay. Well, I'm trying not to laugh too much. This is Silicon Valley, and people of color don't necessarily get the same sort of venture capital opportunities as other folks.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Can you talk a little bit about your journey and maybe struggles through diminished capital and
Yeah.
lack of credit opportunities?
Well, yeah. So, and it's just, I don't know if it could be my fault or whatever, because you know what I realized is that my idea was great, and so I would approach these venture capital firms and give them the business plan and so on, but I wouldn't hear back from them. Um, and then eventually I noticed some of my concepts started appearing on the market and through channels that indicate that they were people that I dealt with. Part of it though is that I just don't have the, I don't know, there could be a bias in dealing with venture, in getting venture capital, but personally, I just didn't. It was just a very, very tedious process for me in general. But but the thing is though that when I have had their attention, because sometimes I think is that they have a lot of like applications or submissions, and maybe I just got lost. When I have had the attention of people that have access to capital, they just ask me a million questions, and they would just like to try and find the one problem or make an issue a problem that it was not. And I was just really becoming annoyed by it, and so it just felt like they were fighting fighting my idea, no matter how good it was. So I just kind of decided, because I like to solve problems on my own. I don't like to be dependent on people for solutions and everything, because I don't have the patience. So I kind of came up with this platform that I wanted to discuss, that allows entrepreneurs, that gives them everything that they need. It brings them the money, the business plans, the strategies, the insights, everything that one needs to to be in business or start a business.
That's great. I want to talk about that in a second, but I have a strong hunch or suspicion that maybe some of these venture capital firms took your ideas and gave them to, like, their frat brothers or
Exactly,
something like
absolutely.
that.
Oh no, I know that happened. In fact, for instance, with the company, a concept I have called a live spree. This is the concept of and I'm fairly sure I'm the original early adopter of shopping by Facebook live cast. It's something I thought of even before 2016, and so I created a Facebook page in mid 2016 and an Instagram page in October of 2016 for it. And it was very, very popular. Everybody that heard about it kind of like really interested in it. Um, it made its way into China, I'm fairly certain, because what I noticed is that on Facebook, when I typed in the name Live Spree, I was seeing, Asian merchants that they were selling merchandise, and they were calling their live streams, they were calling it doing a live spree. So they sort of like took the name of my page and used it as a term or phrase to describe selling by Facebook Live. So I approached Facebook to sort of counteract what was happening, because by late 2016 it was a major trend in China, and to this day it's a $100 billion industry. Retail merchandise in China is now sold by live stream. All the major designers, Versace, Gucci, any label, they sell by live cast to Chinese customers, and it's a 100 billion plus industry a year. So when I found out that this was happening, this was in early 2017. Again, I was trying to do this on my own, because it was always a problem for me getting venture capital. They just kind of stole the idea that, you know, that I would present somehow. So I was trying to create an app of my own. But when I heard that they were doing this in China, I approached Facebook and some of their executives that I know on LinkedIn, And I told them that, they should create a division for retail that features shopping by live stream, that they should use AR and all these other features and stuff like that. And I detailed exactly how they could use Facebook for the retail or e-commerce sector. And so, the execs that I spoke with, they sort of didn't get the concept. I guess sometimes not everybody understands an idea. They kind of shrugged it off. Okay, they said, like, develop it more, we'll fund you later, whatever. This was in 2018, 2019. Again, I tried. And then when COVID happened in March and April of 2020, I did something kind of, well, sort of like out of, I just, what I did is I applied for jobs on Facebook, and I used the business summary of that idea of the concept of live stream, and I used that as my resume. I applied for certain jobs they had for WhatsApp or Facebook, sort of like advertising or whatever, and so that when they looked at the resume part, they would see this whole concept of shopping by Facebook livecast. By 2020, this was already a big trend, and people were already doing this. Facebook just didn't know. In fact, there's a company that allows retail stores to process to process orders from the live streams that they do. This company is called Common Sold. They were charging retailers up to $149 per month, plus 2.5% commission, something Facebook was not even doing since 2018. And that, by the way, that company, Common Sold, is part of a company called SoldSea, who I had reached out to in 2017 to do exactly what they were doing. I reached out to them. I said, can you guys create a code for Facebook that would allow people that would automate shopping by live stream? I didn't hear from them, but, like in late 2017, 2018, they create this company that does exactly that. And so they were doing this. Facebook doesn't know that their platform was being monetized. Imagine charging so many retailers $149 per month, right, for their Facebook page. That's what this company is doing. But anyway, after I sent this application to Facebook in March and April, in May of 2020, Facebook announces they're going to officially create Facebook Shops, and that features live stream, selling by live stream, and they followed all the recommendations I made, and no recognition of myself being the source of the idea, and so that's the kind of thing that I kept running into, like not having access or a reliable like assurance that there's not like a lot of lack of integrity with these decision makers. So I just decided that I would enable myself to fund my own ideas, which I have a lot of different ones. So that's kind of, yeah.
Wait, lack of integrity in corporate America?
Yeah, right.
No. Well, just hearing that story, honestly, it infuriates me. I get enraged when I hear stuff like that. But this is nothing new. And, part of what you've just described is why I wrote my book, DeFi for the Diaspora. And, obviously with what happened last year with the shutdown, it presented, obviously e-commerce just exploded, and being able to have payment options that don't necessarily fall within traditional banking and finance, and to be able to do cross-border transactions in e-commerce. That's one of the themes within the book. People here, people in South America, people on the continent and in the Eurozone, who all look like each other, could all do commerce with one another with less friction than the current system. So I know that kind of resonates with you, but what you have is a solution to all that. What's in my book is theoretical, but what you have is actually tangible. So can you talk about the African Entrepreneurs Cooperative?
Yeah, so what it is it's a platform that allows 5,000, 10,000 or so people to create a general partnership. And it's something that it makes sense, but it's just not done. It's just based on just kind of a value system of cooperation, right? So it's something that is SEC compliant because each of the people that are in this partnership has an equal voice, and they determine uh, when to what amount of money, or what opportunities that they will invest in. So it's basically we're bringing 10,000 people together to pool money and fund start or buy businesses in different sectors in Africa, the US, the Caribbean. um, and it is just kind of like it's kind of a different it's different from crowdfunding, because with crowdfunding, the company you invest in is owned by the particular entrepreneur, and you get equity or you get your funds back with profit. But this is just jointly owning different companies, so that you create like you create a bunch of assets over time, and you earn profits from that, as a cooperative. And because a regular in traditional business, and people just kind of get start to think about doing things in a certain way, because you're completely kind of like always it's reinforced in school, or the media at the university level, that this you go to venture capital, you get a bank loan. So these kinds of solutions don't occur to people, but they're there. So with a traditional company, you get a certain sum of money from the bank, or I guess now from crowdfunding, or venture capital and so forth. And one creates a company that they scale, and at some point they might offer stock for that company. And when they do that, they're giving part ownership of the company to thousands of people. But I'm doing the opposite of that, where I'm just bringing 10,000 people together, and they're creating companies that they jointly own. And it just allows people to use their discretionary income and build wealth. It makes money available to start companies that otherwise would not have been, using the different, the existing methods. So I think it's something that will really help the economy, and it'll have a lot of you know, uh, it will benefit the economy in Africa or the U.S. or wherever. I'm fairly sure. I'm probably one of the first organizations to use this model, and I think we're going to probably be hearing more about it, in the coming months as it becomes more known. I think more people will use this kind of platform to own, because as an entrepreneur, you don't have a huge debt. And if you're an entrepreneur and you like to create business, this allows you to do that affordably, without a lot of like stress or burdens. So basically that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's good. And cooperative models, are obviously not relied upon very often here in the United States, but it looks as though on the continent, a cooperative model is something that is viable, or has the ability to be viable. I think something that you touched on, you have so many people on the continent who are unbanked or underbanked. And I do feel like this sort of model works well with that. Can you talk to, or maybe speak to that a little bit more, and why you chose a cooperative model rather than one of the traditional models?
Yeah, because what's happening is in these markets, you have a lot of people that just have very modest income, and they rely on going to the bank for a bank loan, or they look to corporations to create jobs, or foreign companies to come in and create opportunities. So I was trying to figure out a way to enable people to to fund their own development. And crowdfunding is an idea that's old to me. In fact, I thought of crowdfunding in 2001, even before GoFundMe existed, right? But I this is a variation on that. So it's just like just bringing people together to work together to make things happen, because a few dollars or a few cents from people is enough to fund agriculture ventures, or real estate, and various other ventures. If you bring together a certain amount of people and they contribute the funds, it's just a way that would make money available to produce business, instead of the traditional routes, which is not accessible to them, because they don't have the collateral for banks. They just crowdfunding may not work for certain of the opportunities, for instance. And actually, there are not very many crowdfunding opportunities in African countries, and the governments sort of work against the people in some of these countries, and they insisted that in order to create a crowd fund, you had to have certain hundreds of thousands of dollars or so already. So that excluded the people that actually would benefit. So I use this model because it allows them to just get things done without any barriers, restrictions and stuff like that. And we're filed in the U.S. In California as an LLC. So it's actually open to people in the African countries and anywhere worldwide. We have people that are in the U.S., in some European countries, and so on like that. But there are certain laws that in each African country that you are operating in, that you have to have at least 51% of the participants to be from that country. So at least 40. Actually, we were using a 60-40 balance. So yeah, 40% of the membership can be from outside of the country, and that is done as a way to bring in dollars into those countries as well. So there are a lot of benefits to the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, just from an agency standpoint, right, to have a majority owner in the country of operation. But this is good that the managing company is in the United States. From a transparency level, I mean, at least there are investors in the United States who want to invest in companies in Africa. They don't know how, and they want an entity or an organization that, once again, has transparency, is reliable, it's domestic based, but the funding is routed to the folks who need it there. So kind of walking down that line.
Yeah. It's not a.
Can you go ahead?
It's not an investment. They're partners. It's like doing business with a group of people. Yeah. It's not like they're investors. They're business partners. So everyone, if you have an opportunity that that you have in mind, you just bring it to the platform and people discuss it and figure out what is needed in terms of marketing, all the elements that need to be developed, and then they just divide the cost of it, and they fund it, and they build it, and they just keep building companies like that as a group. So yeah, it's not they're not like investors per se. They're like partners, general partners.
Absolutely, and thanks for the correction on that, because if it's not supposed to be called an investment, once again, in a cooperative situation. That also being said, maybe you could walk through, there are people out there who want to contribute to projects, and their contribution is enough. And obviously there are people who are looking to have some sort of return on some of these projects. How could someone, let's just say here in the United States, who makes a contribution, maybe walk through the process of them actually receiving a return?
Yeah, so if you this is a way of creating wealth or owning part of valuable companies. So for instance, if we're going to build a real estate project in some of these countries that their cities are starting to develop, and it may cost like maybe 2 million US dollars. So among 10,000 people, that's $200. And so that amount of money, because the dollar is so much more valuable than the domestic currency. It can really build very valuable structure in terms of high rises with retail and entertainment at the on the lower levels and stuff like that. So it allows you to own a facility, or a real estate asset like that. So all the profits that would come from that would be shared among the people that bought into that particular project. So it's not a contribution in that sense. It's like bringing an opportunity and working with a group of other partners. And even though there are 10,000 people, there are particular projects that just not everybody, just a few, a certain number of that group may take up unto themselves. So it's not like it's not a contribution, and it's actually you take the risk onto yourself. So the opportunities that are presented, they give you the full details of the business plan, everything that you need to know about this particular opportunity, and it's up to you to decide to be a partner in that, to buy a partnership in that particular project. For instance, so if we are going to do like an agriculture project, and the land costs so much, and it's going to produce certain crops and so on, it's up to you to use your money to buy into that particular land, and then you would get earnings from whatever that particular opportunity provides. So the guarantee is it's up to you. It's it's actually you taking the decision that you're going to do this particular business. And when you buy into a particular business, you have a say. You contribute ideas in terms of how it's going to be marketed, how it's going to be developed. All of those things are discussed. So it's kind of like a really kind of fun and dynamic partnership, way of like creating companies. But it's up to you. You take that risk on yourself, whether or not you think that's a good business. But it's very transparent. The money that's raised, everyone has access to those accounts, the expenditures made. There are business developers and accountants and entrepreneurs that oversee, the money that's contributed, and the total sum of it. Whatever needs to be purchased that's related to that business, everyone is totally aware of it. So it's basically like a partnership like that. But the other thing is that the particular businesses that are established would have managers and supervisors and things like that who oversee it. But the members of the cooperative just kind of like own it, but they hire people for it. Like, they don't run the operations, but they build it.
We the other day kind of had a little bit of a conversation about decentralized finance, and how I felt that blockchain and cryptocurrencies can help fuel these sort of business endeavors. you did state a few caveats, and I think that's important to kind of bring up in today's discussion. Kind of fits in with the show as well. Now, why would you feel as though crypto to fund some of these projects might not be the best choice?
So this particular organization, African Entrepreneurs Cooperative, is also like a think tank. The founders of it are people that have, a background in economics. So they have a particular understanding of how to create economies, how to use, how to develop markets. And one of the things that they do is, I forgot to mention, is that they give seminars and workshops on different things that are related to economics and markets, including one on cryptocurrency. There's a seminar coming up that we're going to do this year, based on the redefinition of money. And this particular paper, just kind of looks at the fact that if money were given a different, if we had a different understanding of money and we were using it properly, that a lot of the problems with the economy would not exist in terms of, unemployment, inflation, debt, not being able to create growth and so on like that. But according to the in my opinion, the thing with cryptocurrency is that it's good that it's decentralized, because according to this theory, there should be exactly as much money as the price of things that there are to buy. And according to this theory, the major problem in the economy is that there is less money. There's not enough money, to buy and sell everything that labor and materials exist to produce, right? And the money that does exist circulates at the discretion of people, and certain features of the market impact that. Cryptocurrency is good in that it allows something I call monetization of unique assets. So that means that you'll be able to have currency available to produce trade. The only problem is that currency is not accepted by everyone. It's not acceptable by everyone. That is the only issue that cryptocurrency has. If the government accepts it or creates one, like I think the Chinese are in the process of doing, and also utilizes it, in the way that it should be, then cryptocurrency would be okay, because according to the understanding I have of this theory is that money is supposed to represent every unique asset that exists. So if you only have a limited sum of money, it can only represent the price of certain things. It won't. So it has to circulate to buy and sell everything else. So the benefit of cryptocurrency is that you would be able to solve the problem of insufficient currency, but the issue with it is that government has not authorized it, and it's not accepted by everyone, and that is the main issue behind using cryptocurrency to fund the initiatives or the projects that we have. At the moment, the way cryptocurrency works is, if we create that, as a vehicle, people would be using dollars or whatever accepted currency to buy the cryptocurrency. So what it's actually doing is, what it's actually doing is that it's not really being, autonomous or an independent form of money. It's still being tied to the existing system of money. The only thing is that, of course, it would be encrypted, so that that would be the benefit of it. But The main reason that we're not considering it is that it's not accepted for everything. You can't really trade it easily for anything else. So that's the main thing.
You did kind of touch on economic theories, right? And you touched on a particular theory, but I did want to ask you about the grand theory or grand unified theory of economics. Was that the theory that you were speaking of?
So that's just the title of the book or the paper that I'm writing on. I don't think that there's officially one, but that's what I'm calling it. And I use that title provocatively. But despite that, I'm able to explain a lot of the problems that exist in the markets, in global markets, and I'm even able to understand and explain a lot of theories that exist that even received Nobel prizes. Even the theory of the game theory or the tragedy of the commons. These kinds of well-known economic theories that people have gotten Nobel prizes for, sort of only partially explain what I'm able to explain very simply, and it has to do with understanding money as something that represents a specific unit of asset, so that if you have an asset, you're supposed to have money to represent it. And because the system is centralized, and we're still operating under the gold standard ideas, where government, gold was the only accepted form of currency. Even after the government went to fiat currency, for that exact reason, is that there were so many things to buy, but not enough gold. So they were able to they use fiat currency for that, but they still create a limited quantity of fiat currency, and they don't create it to produce things. They just create it as a medium of trade, and they create a certain supply of it, and supply it to the economy through banks and maybe grants and so on like that. And then they try to retract it to use again through taxation. But yeah, this grand unified theory, as I call it, clearly explains the error that exists in how money is used as a tool of trade, and why we therefore have the problems of limited employment, and things like this. It's very simple, but it's empirical too. It's just you can obviously see once it's once you read it that, oh, okay, this is what's actually happening. There's really a limited quantity of money, but there's so many services, products, there's so many things to do, but you have to rely on the money that exists, to be able to do that, and it doesn't always circulate to you. So that's part of the problem that we have. And of course, you can see that if you have a decentralized system, and if you have a product or service, the issue would be trust in that case. Like, you've created this money that represents what you have produced or can produce. Before I accept it, I have to know that exists. There's a particular quality. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's kind of at the very least, it'll get people to kind of think outside of the box, because I think in terms of my whole disposition is to always challenge things or systems that don't seem to make sense, and I question why that is the case, and I try to find the ideal or better system and try to see if it makes sense. And in a lot of cases, it actually does. So when someone is a member of the African Entrepreneurs Cooperative, you'll you will have access to all of these kinds of innovative, like insights or business ideas, and it's just like a cooperative for people to create business and kind of have an ability to help develop a better economy, wherever.
That's great. Sorry to make you kind of jump the gun. I know you've been working on this paper for quite some time, but I
Okay.
just wanted you to kind of give a little bit of a teaser to it, because it brings up some really great concepts. And I mean, I think these are all things that we should be considering, right? I mean, and I'm asking a controversial cryptocurrency question, and I'm trying to phrase it a certain way. I mean, there's all sorts of, as you're probably familiar with, stable coins, right? Coins that are pegged to a certain asset to bring in the ability to hedge market volatility. Recently, I'm not sure if you're aware, some projects use an elastic style of stablecoin for elastic money supplies. Do you think that sort of proposition is something that is, I mean, I guess generally it makes sense, but where do you think these sort of things may run afoul of the actual system that we live in and operate in?
I think, to me, money is sound if and only if it represents a real product or service. So if stable coins would be sound if they actually represent things of value. So in that kind of instance, and if you have such coins, you would have to show people what it is that those coins actually represent to determine whether they will accept it or someone else will accept it from them. I think, yeah, there is absolutely no doubt that the money supply should grow with the goods and services that there are to buy. That is why that we now know to use fiat currency. So I don't see a problem with that at all. The only issue I would see is that the things that the coins actually correlate to are not something that actually have value to everyone. And so that's the only issue is certifying what the value is of such coins.
Right. I think that is, one of the major controversies with stable coins is, is there a direct link to the asset that coin represents, whether it's a dollar, whether it's gold, or, some other asset. I think as time moves forward, the regulation there will be enough oversight for governments to feel comfortable to say, yes, one tether does equal $1, right? I don't know if they'll ever come to that conclusion, but, right. And I think that kind of speaks to what you were saying earlier, is why crypto right now is not the best vehicle to fund these projects, is because it doesn't have the proper government oversight to really act in the best interests of these projects.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the government may, outlaw or ban the currency at any point. So you wouldn't really be able to use it to buy anything else that you wanted. It's not accepted by everyone that sells things. The retail stores don't accept it. It's just, that's the only issue with it. So if it's adopted by, I guess, a particular system, and that system has everything that people would want to buy from there, I think, yeah, you could use it to some level. So people would have to agree that they were going to accept this type of currency, to buy and sell. Just like Tesla, no, what's his name, Elon Musk, was going to allow Teslas to be bought by cryptocurrency. But even then, he backtracked because, those millions of, whatever Bitcoin he was going to use, he couldn't buy anything else with it, particularly because no other vendor was accepting those coins as something of value. So that is the main issue with crypto.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're starting to see more adoption in the space, more collaboration in the space. It's not some nuance or some nefarious dark web money.
Mm-hmm.
PayPal and obviously Square and other entities are looking to integrate it into their operations so that small businesses can integrate it into their operation. So, we're just not quite there yet. Something I did want to ask you, just to kind of go off of what you brought up earlier, was, you said that you've come up with a number of different ideas that have gone on to be market successes. Can you maybe touch or tell us about a few of the other ones you came up with?
Actually, yeah, just actually the main one is the one for live commerce and, shopping by Facebook live casts. And that is being done much more now in Europe, and actually China's, very well known market for that. In the US, very few people know about it. I would say maybe 10% of people know. So India is also kind of like becoming aware. South America, it's just, yeah, it's that's one concept. Another thing that is an idea of mine that is original to me, also having to do with cooperation, is a project I'm working on of creating like a virtual democracy for African countries. And again, it would be like, bringing people together and presenting the projects that government would usually do, but maybe doesn't have the money or the initiative, so that these people that are just waiting for their politicians to get around to doing something or other, whether it's building a road or, electric facilities and stuff like that. These millions of people that have very, that are disenfranchised and just always rely on protesting against the politicians or maybe foreign loans and so on. The people in these African countries can create a platform where the citizens, unite, and they pool money among their millions, and they pay for and they oversee the development of these particular projects, right? So that is one major idea that I know will disrupt. Speaking of decentralization, it basically decentralizes government to where everyone now becomes like sovereign, and everyone now acts in his own interest. So you don't need to defer to a senator or a governor in getting things done. So the society at large can participate in, I guess it's civic participation at a much better level, beyond just protesting and writing letters and all this stuff. It's actually taking responsibility and solving the problems, when the issue is, we don't have the money. If this were done, it would allow, these countries where they've gone into a lot of debt, because among those millions of their citizens, or hundreds of millions of their citizens, they have the money among them to not have needed a loan from China or wherever, for the projects that were funded. So then they could have taken the initiative, and this platform would give them that power to say, okay, we need this bridge. You don't have to go and borrow from China. The citizens here will pull the money. And it's something I think a lot of people are interested to do, because it allows them to have a role in creating their own lives, creating their own nation, rather than just always being just a victim of like circumstances or the political times. So I think a lot of people in these countries are energized to do that. So yeah, and speaking of the other project I mentioned, which is, again, the one I'm talking about of the virtual government is like nonprofit. It's just based on people's initiative to build their own country. Of course, it would help them economically because it would create jobs and it would help them get rid of debt to foreign countries. And it also stop a lot of the political fighting that happens when they have to vote for one guy, right? That represents everyone's interest and spends their treasury. If you don't have that system, then all the fighting that happens doesn't happen. And people now focus on the best project, the best scientifically, aesthetically, whatever. And they vote for that and they fund it. All the money that is collected is everyone is there to see when it's something is spent. It's detailed. You can go to this project site. So it's, again, just another common sense solution to the systems that we've used. And, you know, this system of governance that we have is because, you know, it's, a lot of it is based on superstition. The idea of having like a king, right? And in England, the king was someone that was thought to be somehow special, or maybe he was capable of exploits and stuff like that. So, you know, his family just kind of like ruled over everyone. So it goes against human nature. I know that much. And so, of course, when the English came to you know, to the US, to the Americas, they wanted to change that system, allow people to select the king, but nevertheless, that's still kind of like not there's, in a way, it's necessary, because if you have so many people that have a decision to make, it's simple to just have one person like you know, make those decisions practically. But now with the internet age, individuals can represent themselves, and so that's kind of one of the projects that I'm developing, you know, for those emerging societies like that. But yeah, that and the live shopping are the two main ones. But I have other things that are just like inventions and stuff like that. The interesting thing is, when people join the African Entrepreneurs Cooperative, they will be able to know the kind of projects I'm working on and be co-owners or co-developers, or, you know, I guess investors in them. So yeah, so that's what it is. I'm a creative and democratic person, so I like to get ideas from different people so that I can build something else with it. So that's kind of the way I come up with things. But yeah.
Well, it definitely sounds like this platform could do something like bring clean water to Flint, Michigan, because I'm not sure if they've solved that problem quite yet.
Right,
and
right.
What's
and
taking so long?
Right.
I don't know.
Is that a matter of the money is not there? When this kind of thing allows you to solve the money issue, and I think people are motivated to do this, a lot of things, rather than just wait for, you know, taxation or bonds or whatever. So if you present these kinds of solutions and the cost, everything that's involved technically, and then just have people take it up, I think it'll just change the way, the things that society is about. Because right now we're about going to work, being entertained, you know, some people, you know, so I think it'll just create a new area of interest, you know, in the society in general. So yeah.
It would also be interesting in have you thought of or entertained the idea of having that platform with a DAO model of governance, a decentralized autonomous organization?
Oh, yeah, decent DAO model. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Why? I've not heard that phrase before, and so why is it termed that way and given that kind of like those initials?
Well, it is a decentralized, as the D,
right?
And it is autonomous. So, you know, it basically, it's relegated to code, and it's a decentralized way of introducing governance
Oh,
into corporate models, organizational models,
right.
nonprofit models for that matter. And so you
Hmm.
can really take the human element out of the decision making. Well, not so much.
Oh, interesting. But you're talking about something that refers to code, you said. Like,
Right, right.
oh, fascinating.
It's really smart contract based. So, or
Okay.
it has a component of smart contracts. So the people who interact are people. The human element really comes down to the voting, right? So the initiatives, whether they get voted up or voted down, that's where the most human element is uh, is engaged. But when it comes to the actual decision making and some of the things that need to be made kind of on a more day to day level, that's where DAOs can kind of come in and take care of some of those things. Where once again, humans making mistakes kind of get taken out of that equation, or embezzlement, the greed factor, the fear factor, a lot of that stuff. You know, is handled by the computers and the machines and allows us to do other things.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like that's that's a very interesting concept. I would be looking into that more. Um, yeah, because I that's one of the things I'm interested in. I guess like machine learning, and how these kinds of decisions are made. By computerization and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely would look into that. So, and is this something that has that is involved in blockchain as well, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It really it got started with Ethereum. So when Ethereum began, there was something called the DAO, and unfortunately, it got exploited and it got hacked. But one of the major news stories that came out this week is a project called MakerDAO is now becoming fully decentralized, fully autonomous. So the actual humans, the people who are running the project, are going to step away and allow the code to take over.
Wow, that is interesting, but I just kind of seem to be concerned with the fact that, maybe those systems don't have all the information and, the subtle, the areas of, how decisions and are made by humans that has proven to be something that computers cannot do, in terms of like, because they're just based on logic. Aren't these systems based on logic? The DA,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, when a computer can make a decision better than a human, the computer is able to make it. And once again, it all depends on what's been coded into the DAO. So there might be some things that, okay, hey, we're going to let the people handle these things, but the stuff where we don't want to use human resources, we're going to allow the DAO to take care of those things. So you should absolutely check it out. I cover it in my book, DeFi for the
oh, okay.
Diaspora.
I definitely will read that. There's a lot in your book that seems to be parallel to the kind of the things I'm kind of trying to work on. So I definitely will read that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, like I said, I still have a project for you in on the continent that I would love to maybe get some of those folks together and have a talk with you, because it sounds like it would be great for your project for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Well, hey, Idara, is there anything else you'd like to share with us and maybe let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, so right. So the African Entrepreneurs Cooperative is like a cooperative of individuals. It's a partnership, a general partnership, where people come together to they pull money to build businesses or to even buy businesses in different sectors in Africa, the Caribbean, the U.S., any place. And it's just a way of allowing you to own shares in valuable companies, affordably, just using your discretionary income, and people just creating companies that they scale and build a portfolio of companies that returns assets in very easily hundreds of millions or more per year at some point per month, and it's just a very creative way of going into business. Members receive seminars and workshops for free on Zoom. We do business education, the sort of courses that you would take in business school, or we give those courses as well for free. And we also do Zoom tours to African countries to kind of give you to sort of give you an experience of the culture, to scout business opportunities, sort of like maybe take language lessons. So we're just like a very fun way of doing business and things like that. So yeah, if people go to aecoop.net, A is in Africa, E is in Edward, coop.net, they will be able to get more information and just join our email list. And membership is $5 per month, and that membership fee entitles you to the free workshops on different things, the kinds of different original insights into various topics. We give lectures on politics, science, and technology, current events, so that we equip the members of the platform to have an impact, in the times. So that's basically what that is. And we're also on Instagram. So if you follow us at aecoop.net, you'll get all the information that you need. Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, I encourage you guys to check out the African Entrepreneurs Cooperative, and definitely connect with Idara and her organization. Thanks for taking time out to talk about this, some of your ideas, a little bit about economics. I think that's awesome. These are sort of the conversations we should have, within our global community, right? Because it makes things like this all the more, I guess, come closer to fruition. So thanks again for taking time out, Idara.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right.
Kamal.
Have a great weekend, and everybody out there, be safe.
Thank you, Kamal. Have a good weekend.
All right.